Hey all, Luigi here with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about troops. A lot of this game, it talks centered around heroes and what to do with heroes and squads and whatnot. But troops are a big factor, in your overall power and your success when it comes to battling opponents. So, as usual, I'll have timestamps. That's the word I was looking for in the description below if you're interested in a specific topic. But in the video, I'm going to be talking about the overall impact of troops. I'm going to talk about some of the terms that I didn't quite understand when I first started playing, such as load, morale, march size. I'm going to go over battle record and how you can learn some information from that and some of the things there. I'm going to quickly touch base on training strategies and strategies around enemy buster and capital duels. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about operations. So with that, let's get right into it. So troops play a significant role when it comes to your success in PvP and also your overall power numbers, right? So I'm base level 28, and you can see my overall power in the top left is 78.5 million. So if I click on this overall power, you can see, more than half of it is based off of my hero power. Now, if I were to minimize this, right? Oh, boom, there's unit power, right? So those are my troops. And you can see that that is also quite a large chunk of power. It was something I was surprised at. At first, I think I recognized it after I did one of my first enemy buster events, and I lost a ton of troops, and I noticed my power just took a huge nosedive. So it's significant, right? It's important. If I click on my drill ground, right, and I click on my units, I can see that each unit increases my power by 1,352. And each hero that you have in your squad brings troops into battle with them. So it's important, right? It's a big part of your success when it comes to facing other players. So yeah, I mean that's kind of what I want to get into in terms of why troops are important. So let's talk now about some of the statistics around troops and what they mean. Some of them are pretty self-explanatory, right? If I go into my research and I click on units, right, I see, oh, this thing increases my unit's attack. This one increases my defense. This one increases my health. Those are all pretty straightforward. And then you click on this, and it's like boost carrying capacity. Okay, what is carrying capacity? And if I go, down here, I can see here it's like, oh, power boost 1 increases the load capacity. Load capacity. What's load capacity? And what that is essentially the number of resources that your units can hold each. So what is what does that mean? Like how does that help? And really, what it comes down to, one of the most important things is when you attack another person's base, right? When you attack another person's base, you take resources from them. And based upon the capacity that your units have and the load, that increases the amount of resources that you get per attack. So, I can click on this debuff here, this exclamation point in the top left, and you can see that I've plundered, almost 35 million worth of resources today. And so therefore, the amount that I can get has been reduced significantly. And this is something that I wish I knew about earlier. I think that this is one of the, as you get higher and higher level, the more and more resources you need. So making sure that you attack someone that isn't in an alliance every day in order to get the max amount of resources you can get per day really helps you out as you progress in the game. And I can show you, right, I did this morning. Here I attacked this person, and every time I attacked them, I gained 5.5 or 5.1 million resources. Like you can see my carry capacity at the top. And here's the number of 1.8 million food and iron and then the gold. So highly recommend you scout someone that isn't in alliance. Find someone that has a good bit of resources and make sure you get in your attacks every day to increase the amount of resources that you can collect on a daily basis. So that's what troop load is. The other thing that, or another metric, I guess, is morale. So morale is something I didn't quite understand. And really what it is if your units have higher morale than another unit, your unit's morale have higher morale than your opponent's, you're going to do more damage. And again, I can show you in a battle report quickly here. So if I go, here's one from today with the defense. So if I go to my army and I go down to my unit section, you can see that here, I'm on the right side, right? I have more morale than my opponent does. And you can see there's this like little disclaimer right below the troops that says red side's morale is 1.1 times that of blue, inflicting 111% damage in battle. So that's what morale, like it contributes to your damage. And if you have higher than your opponent's, the amount that you have higher it's going to increase the damage that your side does. So that's an important thing to do. And the only way that I know of to increase your morale is through research. Actually, I should say there's two ways that I know of. So if I go to my research and go to my special forces, you can see right here, this research node in the middle, this boosts your unit's morale. So definitely an important research node there. The other way, if you're in season 1, is if you are a war leader. They have part right here. So this inspire talent increases my unit's morale by 10% when it's maxed out. So something to consider, if you're in season 1 or going in season 1, if you're going to end up going to be a war leader. So that is units morale. And the last thing I want to talk about is march size. And this is where I was curious, like march size, load, like where's the difference here? So march size is the number of units that your heroes bring into battle. So if I go to my hero tab and I click on, Diva, for example, you can see in the bottom right, there is march size, right? So you can see Diva's march size is 126. So if I were to scroll through these, right, they're all 426, excuse me. And that's because it's tied to your hero's level. So if I click on someone that isn't 140, right, Marshall right now is 416. So that's where march size comes into play. And the way that you can increase march size, there is no research for march size, at least that I'm aware of. But there is a survivor that you can get that does increase your march size, and that is Shirley. So you can see, depending upon her star level, it increases the march size of your squad. So Shirley, definitely a solid survivor to get. As you can see, it increases. She increases the hero attack as well as the march size per unit, or per hero, I should say. So definitely worth getting. I believe she unlocks at VIP level 8, and it is something that you have to purchase. So I don't believe you can get her unless you pay for it. So something to keep in mind if you are spending money on the game. She's definitely something worth getting for sure. So that essentially sums up all of the characteristics or statistics or terms, I guess, for units and their impact on the game. So real quick, I showed you that battle record. I just want to highlight a couple of quick things in that battle record that I didn't know about beforehand. So if you go in here, right, there's a ton of data, right? If you click on the info, you'll notice there's a couple of these throughout here. It tells you a bunch of useful information. You can scroll through, right? It gives you all your hero stuff. If you're curious about squad and hero information, I have another video on that, so definitely check that out. And then if I go to the army tab, right, like this shows you the difference like in your strength in one component versus another, like tech drone, your drone setups. And there's this combat details little drop down, which I didn't even notice until recently. There's a ton of information. Like these are all the research nodes and where you are higher or lower or the same as your opponent. Like, and here's like unit morale, for example, right? I can click on unit morale and it will actually, there's this research button. Like I click on this and this will bring me into the research node and tell me exactly where I can upgrade that. So pretty neat, pretty cool. There's combat details here, some similar thing. And then, the morale we already went over. And then the statistics is just, the amount of damage that your units, your heroes they took as well. And if you click on these little magnifying glasses, it tells you, what percentage of the damage was energy versus physical, how much crit that you had. So it's very useful stuff. And again, like the damage type, energy, physical, I go through all that stuff in my hero video as well. So definitely check that out. All right, so let's quickly go over training strategies. I talked about this for my day 5 versus video. So if you're curious, check that out. I'm just going to quickly go through this. I have 4 barracks. They're all different levels, so I can train different level troops in each one. And only one of my barracks is the highest level that can train what I'm at right now is unit level 9. So I train, this one trains level 5, this one trains 7, this one trains 8. So I train all those at those barracks, and then I use this one to promote. So I promote level 8 to level 9, level 7 to level 9, and level 5 to level 9. And this is something that helps you, stagger things out and get points on for arms race or versus total mobilization day. And in terms of going into enemy buster day, or if you're in a warzone duel and you have the capital defense or the capital attack, you really want to have as many troops as you possibly can. So one thing that you can do is if you're able to fill your drill ground to the max, I'm not quite there yet, but you can fill your drill ground to the max. You can have your hospital, mostly maxed out and have them fully healed, but not collected. And you can do the same thing with your barracks. So you can have everything ready. So that way, when you start attacking and you start losing troops, you can quickly refill them with the stuff that you have set aside. And then the last thing I wanted to quickly talk about is the operations or the frontline breakthroughs, the special ops. Some of the stuff is pretty fun. As you may have noticed if you've done this in the game, every time you complete one, you are able to collect troops. And the way it works is the troops that you collect is based on the level that you have unlocked, right? So if I do this and collect them, those troops will be level 9. Now, you don't get a ton of troops from this, so it's not like super impactful, but, sometimes I have thought about whether or not I wanted to, like, not collect this until I get a higher level, at least when I was, a lower level base, but I don't think it's really that important, but, just something that you can think about if it's something you want to do. So as always, if you have any other questions or if you think I left anything out, definitely shoot a comment. But thanks for listening. Have a good one.